Good morning, everyone. As harvest continues on and we wrap up our work from this year, it's time to really evaluate what has worked on our farm and what needs improvement. One of the more challenging aspects of nitpicking your farming operation is the inconsistencies provided each and every growing season. Mother Nature dictates so much of the outcome that it's actually easier to just focus on what provides consistent results and what doesn't year in and year out. When it comes to consistency in cornfields, there's one product we've come to rely on, and that is Acuron by Syngenta. This year we opted to use Acuron GT for logistical reasons. As a matter of fact, Acuron is the product that retailers and farmers turn to when they have a problematic high weed population field. It gets the job done, it keeps things clean. This field was layered with an early residual pass, and then we followed it up with the Acuron GT. 180 plus days without any weeds out here to speak of. Look at how clean this is. I could show you a million samples out here. Even with the dryness, this is a solid program, something you may consider for next year. While I'm out here, I also want to highlight the all-time high we have in plant health thanks to our application of Mirvis Neo with the Heggie. Other than maybe a spot or two here or there is next to no tar spot. By the time it had enough oomph to infiltrate these plants, the season was pretty much over. That's exactly what we want to see, full speed into the finish line. Mirvis Neo is one of the best products on the market for combating tar spot, which is a very problematic disease in the Midwest. Obviously, corn is king on most farms. It would be hard to disagree that it doesn't receive a majority of the attention, but on our farm, and I'm sure many of your farms, soybeans are an equally important part of the equation. Our soybean herbicide game was a little bit lackluster this year. We spent more money than we ever have using a lot of competitive products, but our results just weren't quite what we were hoping for. I do think there's an opportunity for ourselves and many of you out there to try out Syngenta's new Tindovo soybean herbicide. It is a pre-emergence only residual herbicide applied right at the beginning while the crop is not out of the ground. It helps keep water hemp at bay in the crucial early stages of the growing season. I definitely think there's room for exploration in that department on our farm just because we struggle with water hemp and soybeans so much. However, when it comes to disease mitigation and plant health, we find a lot more consistency because we made use of both Saltro by Syngenta, a premium SDSC treatment, preventing any kind of sudden death syndrome surprises on our farm like we had last year that we thought cost us a lot of money at the end of the day. And of course, we treated all of our soybeans at fungicide time or R3 growth stage with Mirvis Top to help prevent some of those more problematic diseases. Think of frog eye leaf spot and a few other blights that cause a lot of yield loss on soybeans. Definitely something you all should look into. Obviously, it's been a very long growing season. There's a lot of things we can evaluate and decide what we want to do moving forward to help optimize our farm. We're going to be doing that. I know you guys are going to be doing that. The calendar never stops turning. Although we're finishing bringing off this crop, we're already starting to think about the next one. All I ask of you viewers is next season when you're considering chemical and seed choices, check out Syngenta's line of products. They have a lot of powerful offerings that I think can be a benefit to you. Syngenta touts the better yield, better deal motto because they think not only are their premium products the best, they also give you the best bang for your buck, which is extremely important. No reason to spend money that isn't going to make you money. As always, a massive shout out to Syngenta for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the regularly scheduled programming. I do believe that it rained a little bit last night. Oh wow, another 6/10, which is exactly what we got the other day. Actually, it did way more than rain. It stormed. It's kind of hard to miss that considering how these dogs act when it's lightning outside. It's a good thing we battened down the hatches last night or we'd have some stinky beans in a few days on everything. Dad and I decided yesterday that if it did rain, we were going to have Katie's Draper in at the local John Deere dealership to inspect one of the belts. It's just flopping around, not running very good, and it doesn't seem to have any tensioner left in it, so it may need replaced. It's a perfect rainy day project for them. We'll probably take that in and then refocus our efforts onto corn if it didn't rain that much. Strolling through the John Deere dealership, what can we add to our wish list this morning? I already see a few things I'd take. Look at that. See the water falling off of the plants? These beans are liable to be 20% today. Oh yeah. Plants and pods are tough. Beans definitely picked up some moisture, but they're really not that far off, 15–16%. The only issue would be that maybe some more of this residual moisture continues to work its way into the soybeans, meaning that moisture content keeps going up as the morning progresses. I don't think we're going to be cutting any beans today. If the rumors are true and we are going to try to pick corn, I gotta go make a stop at the fuel tank, because this 8R, it can do a week's worth of soybean cutting on one tank, but it can only do about 2 days worth of picking corn because you move so much more grain. Dad said it rained over an inch down here in Etna, so there's no way we're moving today here, going closer to home where we had that ½ inch. The new bin looks exceptionally shiny this morning. It appears that the corn and the ground around home is a little damp. Probably wait till after lunch to try some corn. In the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and bring the second combine home to fuel it up. Day by day, more and more fields are slowly starting to disappear. Harvest is progressing. I'd say most farmers are nearing on 1/3 of the way done to halfway done at this point. There's my mom's, dad, and brother's outfit right there. Looks like they've been cutting some beans and loading the bin. Okay, made it to the fuel tank. Wasn't really expecting any issues in that journey anyways. Just missed it, but an eagle just flew over the farm. Always neat to see those. The cart's kind of ahead of the horse right now. We gotta go back to the bin site and set an auger, because all of this 220 acres of corn goes in a bin. Probably more than one bin too, actually, if it's decent yielding. Okay, well, we're going to our ride in the grain cart. Dad has just caused a mutiny with the truck drivers, my uncles Chris and Jeff, because he said he's going to switch the S670 to corn, put the 8-row on it, and we're going to run both machines here. They're going to be overwhelmed. We really need another truck driver, but we'll see what happens. tempers won't really start to flare until we get the ends picked off of this field and have the other machine show up. That's when the truckers will really get irritated. Oh boy, the can of worms is getting opened. I might as well stop and take the leak now, because Joe Board knows I'm not going to get an opportunity if that other combine shows up. Between these two machines, I'm going to speculate that in decent corn, 200 plus bushel an acre, probably capable of doing 8,000 bushels an hour. We are not logistically qualified or set up to get that away. We have 3 trucks, 2 drivers, Jeff's switching between semis. The good thing we have going for us is that we're hauling a mile up the road to our bin site with an auger that's capable of probably 13,000 bushels an hour. Still going to be an issue here pretty shortly. Oh, rest in peace to our 2 truck drivers. They don't stand a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing my best here, but this is quite literally impossible. Dad's practically got corn running off of all sides of his drain tank. You do actually have to give Chris and Jeff, specifically Jeff, a lot of credit because they are just barely keeping up. Although I technically did catch them on this last load, I was waiting on Jeff. I am doing a worse job keeping up than them, except for they only have to go to the same spot. I'm at the will of the combines. If they aren't picking next to each other, it's almost impossible for me to catch both of them at the same time because I have to go around the land and get back to the other one. Case in point, Dad is picking south right here, and then when he's done there, he comes back here on this side. Katie is on the other side of that land. She's picking, and then she will go back around. So there's no way for me to cut across the middle. And now I go around to the other side to catch Katie. I'm sure you can all kind of see how this is inconvenient for me. Although there may be a corn overload, we are picking a ton right now. We've probably already knocked out 60 acres. Oh, here comes Jeff. He's actually doing a real good job keeping up, but I think I'm going to stir the pot. What took you so long, Jeff? Look, I think that's as funny as I am.
Stop for a break.
Oh, I thought you've been moving awfully slow.
I have to put rock in every load.
Technically, I'm not sure there's any reason for me to even actually hurry back to the combines. They're both sitting there full. We've quite literally caught the trucks. We finally got a chance to breathe. Katie shut the S670 down, hopped in Dad's combine. He went out to scout some soybean fields for tomorrow to see if we have anything that's dry enough to cut. If we do, corn always goes to the wayside. We'll switch everything back over to beans. Doesn't take too long, but that's all dependent on whether or not he finds fields that he thinks are dry enough. Ground conditions are less of a concern, more so just that the beans are dry enough to test moisture-wise to take them to an elevator. Corn we're in right now is Pioneer 1608 AM, 116-day corn. It's running 16 to 17% right now. It's a pretty good moisture for us to put in the bins. Ear size is okay. There's some good ears like that one, and you have some that aren't quite as impressive. The stand is also a little bit intermittent. I think that comes back to that frost damage we had earlier in the season. I think some of these plants didn't fully recover from the frost, and thus our final stand come harvest time just wasn't that good. Yields on the monitor are looking pretty impressive, although this is one of our better fields year in and year out, so we're expecting good yields out here anyways. Plant health is pretty good out here for this corn being in the ground since the second week of April. Top's starting to go out in a few locations, but the actual standability at the bottom seems to be pretty strong. Combination of good Pioneer genetics and of course the Mirvis Neo we applied courtesy of Syngenta to help improve plant health coming into harvest. We'll probably pick another 20 acres or so and call it quits. Trucks are finally getting a breather. It's a beautiful evening. Hopefully tomorrow we can cut some beans. I seem to have been the only person not informed that we are in fact quitting already. So I'm checking with you guys tomorrow. Okay, so much for cutting beans first thing this morning. With the fog we've got out here right now, it'll be at least midday, if not afternoon, before beans will cut. If they'll even cut at all.
Okay.
Yeah, there's mud on the wheel. All right, come on, we gotta go check the oil.
Okay, green.
Yeah. Lenny's mom and brother are headed to the doctor first thing this morning for a routine checkup on the baby. And so we got a little extra help here. Come on. This way, buddy. You want to help me? Come on. Come here.
A camera.
It is a camera.
I like a camera.
Here, you want to check the oil on the tractor?
I want a camera.
Plenty of oil. Lenny didn't want to help. He wants to be the cameraman. We can always use a few of those around here. How do I look? Good?
What do I do?
Am I in frame?
What do I do? What do I do?
I'm unlocking it.
I like it. Get it up here. I get up here. Get up here. Get up here.
Oh, you want to go look at the combine?
No, don't take a picture.
Well, you can take a picture on the combine.
It's
What? Look at me. Yeah, the grain cart tractor's ready to go. We got to go check the other combine now.
That one?
Yeah, that one over there.
It's a Gaga one.
Yeah.
That one is a Gaga one.
Yeah. I'm sure whatever you said was correct.
I can go take a picture.
Yeah, you can run the camera. How about that?
Huh?
We got to walk over to the other one.
Look. My idea. What they do to that one?
Lenny's got the right idea, working in Crocs. Comfort and durability.
What? Oh.
In charge of the camera.
I don't get it, and then
Make sure you only get my good side.
I go to. It's a way to go there. I take a hat and then got it.
I'm not sure your hat will fit me. That gets me up to the engine compartment so I can check the oil.
And they have a water. I feel.
Boo.
Huh?
Boo.
Don't die.
Boo.
I don't die. I want.
Boo.
I
What?
want. I got. I got. I'm gonna get up here for
Here,
water.
I'll carry you up. Technically, you shouldn't go down these backwards. Just so you know.
There.
Just so you know.
No.
Here, let's clean our hands off. You gotta put your hat back on.
A big hat? A big one.
Wave at the camera. What do you say, Lenny? Does it look like the combine and the tractor are ready to go?
Nobody wants to make a cutter. Or go.
You and me both, buddy. Oh, so much for trying to start cutting beans again today. It is 12:30. This is the first we've seen the sun. The fog lifted about an hour and a half ago. Dad just fired up the combine. We're gonna go ahead and just keep picking through the rest of the day. I'm not sure whether or not combine number 2 will get fired up. We will cross that bridge when it comes, if it does. It didn't take long to answer that question. There goes the operator for that combine. Oh, it's going. A little bit rough, but we're somewhat keeping up. Dad just left. He shut his combine off and left. I don't know where he went. He probably realized that we had way too much corn coming in than we could get out, so he took a little breather. Poor truck drivers are barely above water at this point. They're really not keeping up that well because the combines have stopped a couple times. I don't know if that's the trucker's fault or my fault. However, it's logistically impossible for me to get to both combines, especially when they don't pick next to each other. We've definitely gone to a different corn hybrid between that first section of Pioneer 1608 we were picking yesterday and this area we're on now. The reason I can tell that is just based on the way the loads are weighing. I can be putting the same amount of volume on a truck, which of course is always a legal amount of bushels and pounds because we follow all regulations accordingly. Anyways, I could put the same amount on and have 50 bushels less of weight on the load, according to LibreCart. So that tells me test weight is a little different. Test weight does not necessarily mean the yield is different. Some hybrids are heavier but produce more kernels. I mean, there's a lot of variability. I'm sure at the end of the day, the actual generated yield per acre is probably pretty similar between the two hybrids. Hey, Boss Man finally showed back up. Ended up in the same predicament again after about 20 minutes of running. You know the combines are getting tired of waiting when they start cleaning their windows in the downtime. And look at that. The other one's almost full again. Metaphorically speaking, this is quite literally like drinking out of a fire hose for me. I'd actually probably be able to keep up if the trucks could keep up. They're not though. It's not their fault. We just don't have the logistic capability to get this done. I swear, something about the chopper on that combine still does not sound quite right. It sounds like it's kind of rattling around a little bit. Dad claims it's in working order. I've heard that combine drive by enough to know that that's not exactly the way it's supposed to sound. But it's still picking. I guess it's good till it's not. Worst case scenario, we got to put out a fire in the field. My dad actually left about an hour ago. He swapped out with Katie. We've just got the S780 and the 12 row running right now, and we're still bringing in quite a bit of corn. Although we had a tremendous head start on the trucks when both machines were running, they still have not caught up with me. Jeff's just now bringing a truck back for me to dump on. And look at that moon over there in the distance. It's pretty big tonight. I did check our planting data. This is DeKalb 6465. It's definitely not weighing as much as that Pioneer 1608, I probably mentioned earlier that test weight isn't everything. Could be yielding just as good without being as heavy. Poor Chris and Jeff. Spend all this money on farm equipment, but we never make the truckers' lives any easier with bigger trailers or more help. We continuously pull more and more corn off the fields every year. Yields are steadily increasing. Combines are getting bigger. Yet we've never improved our logistics. I'm projecting this entire 220 acre field to average around 240 bushels an acre dry. For reference, last year across the ditch here on a very similar farm, albeit smaller, the field of 64-65 DeKalb averaged like 260 and change. I think it was like 263 if my memory serves me correctly. Obviously, the cat's out of the bag for us at this point. The top end yield is just not there for our corn and soybeans. We've just not had anything tremendous. If this makes 240 plus, it'll be one of our better cornfields this year. I don't even know where the boss man took off to. I find it unlikely that he's somewhere being unproductive. If he wanted to be super helpful while not running a combine, he could hop in one of the other trucks. He doesn't seem to want to do that though. Okay folks, that's it for the night. The puppet master called, told us to shut it down. I'll check in with you tomorrow. Once we get the drapers to the field we're going to try to cut today, we'll finish this field of corn that we're picking and then switch our focus back to soybeans because it's starting to dry off a little bit. We've been at it for a little over an hour. Combine's almost full, grain cart's full, trucks are full, all because the first bin is full. We're gonna finish this last little section here, put it in another bin. We won't finish that bin because we'll be moving on to beans once this is done. I did a little switcheroo to the other truck, keep the combine going. They can worry about the bin. Okay, our transition to soybean harvest has definitely commenced. Dad's taking the big machine in to fuel up, unhook the corn head, switch her over, and head west. Katie and I are just going to finish up this last few acres here on the west side, and then we'll be joining. Last load of corn for a while until it rains, presumably, or we finish soybeans. Of this entire 219 acre field, we've harvested 179-ish acres. 45,000 bushels have been sent off through the grain cart on Libra cart. That puts our average so far right at 245 bushels an acre dry. We're moving west to cut some more beans. Elena's back around the home farm, spreading some P&K for next year. Let's just hope these soybeans keep in a lot better condition than they did last year in these bins, because we had a real mess on our hands over here. Make quick work of the east side of this field. Got about 170-ish acres of these Don Mario 3756 enlist soybeans. This is more marginal ground, so probably not going to be as good this year here. We'll wait and see what LibreCard has to say about that. I just hopped out and helped the bin crew move the auger from the south bin to the north bin. We may have to do a wellness check on my dad because he finally listened to a voice of reason, and we're not filling the middle bin that had the worst quality issues this winter. We're just going to do the south one and the north one. The middle one may be officially condemned. Who knows? Got another 120 acres to cut. This field right here, these two fields, I guess you'd say, Don Mario 3756Es, made right over 73 bushels an acre dry, which is actually phenomenal when you give how dry this year was, a lack of moisture. You've got some rolling light ground, terraces, not really the perfect recipe for high yields. 73 on this old farm, we'll take it. It's also extremely dusty out here this evening. Beans are definitely dry. We just wrapped up another field of Don Mario 3756Es, another challenging farm. Made 75 bushel an acre dry, which is pretty darn good for those fields. We're on to our last one of the night. We won't get it finished, but we'll get the grain cart loaded, ready to get started early in the morning. first marginal field did 73, the second one did 75, and that this historically just down the road is a much better farm on average. Hopefully like to see an 80 bushel average out of this one. I'm not sure, anything can happen, and we won't know tonight because we're not gonna get it finished. I'm almost out of camera battery, and if I roll this into one more day, this video is gonna be 2 hours long, which I'm not wanting to do. I'm gonna take off, everyone. As always, I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. Catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I'd love to talk about farming. Have a great night, everyone. Peace!